Welcome to Saucer Squad, the podcast about staying sober in the city, with your hosts, Kate Sander and Jess Valentine.
Hi,
Kate.
Jess.
I'm so excited for today's episode.
Me too.
I feel like it's been a really long time since we've done a hot mess hoedown.
It has been a hot minute since we did a hot
It
mess.
has, right? Okay. I'm just gonna jump in. Is that cool?
Are you gonna read
I'm gonna
C or
start
are you
with
gonna
C.
do? Okay.
Yeah. All right. I was working in Paris at the time. So basically, it was my very first job. And so my very first Christmas party, I'm dealing with social anxiety. And especially when in a new environment, I get super shy and a bit awkward sometimes. My great technique was to drink a bit to make me feel comfortable. I don't know. But of course, because it was an open bar and I had zero moderation, I drank a lot. One of my colleagues told me the day after that I slapped him.
Oh
my God. Can't recall. After having dinner, which I don't recall either, we went to this club to dance all. She blacked out before dinner. We went to this club to dance all together. So we arrived there and I was apparently dancing a lot with the big CEO of the company.
I like
Not
that
to
big
mention-
CEO is in
All caps. Not to mention I had a boyfriend. It was fucking awkward in front of my new colleagues. After another round of shots and drinks, I've decided to jump on the podium to dance with this girl. Obviously, I fall over on my back badly. Basically, that put me out of my blackout, but I was struggling to breathe and walk. Oh no. So this guy I'm working with suggested taking the same cab and helping me go back home.
Uh-oh.
At the time, we could take a black cab without paying 1 million euros, but he decided to order one of this black cab per phone. He was also a bit drunk, but clearly less than me. Anyway, this car arrives in front of the club and we jump in it. My friend said, I bet it's not their car. My friend said to the guy that he needs to stop to take some cash at the ATM. The guy stopped a few meters further. After my friend put his card into the ATM, bear with me, Mom was half conscious and in serious pain. The driver left with me in the car. Oh no. When my colleague checked, he realized that this guy wasn't our cab. It was a random guy. I was too smashed to realize that my friend was gone or even with me at the time. The driver arrived in front of my house.
Wait, this
and
was
I don't
just
know.
a person? Or not like a cab driver or just a person?
Yeah, I don't know. The driver arrived in front of my house and I don't know which angel protected me at that moment, but I woke up. The guy was asking me if I wanted to smoke some weed with him and was saying that I should stay.
What?
But I stood up and left saying thank you. I ran back home and realized how bad it could have been. The day after I went to the ER for my rib, it was broken. Oh my God. Excuse
Bless
me.
you.
Poor thing. She's so lucky.
So lucky.
Side note, but there's this British documentarian and she did this show called like Sexual Harassment, The Truth or something. And she does kind of like Promising Young Woman. She like sits outside looking really drunk to see what guy, she has like a hidden camera.
I hate this. I hate it.
Yeah, it got taken. It was on YouTube and got taken off for some reason. But yeah, it's just like really fucked up. She just plays drunk and like.
It's like that guy on the Dateline guy.
Yeah.
How to catch a predator.
Basically, but then, yeah, I only saw like a clip and it looked really, it's very like Promising Young Woman. But thankfully, unlike Promising Young Woman, like this girl actually had like a guy in like the bathroom.
Okay,
So
good.
a guy followed her into her hotel room. Like, and even if you're sober, stone cold sober, that's a scary fucking situation to be in, But anyway, so that could have gone so bad.
Wait, do you read the rest? When I came back to the office, I felt so much shame and anger at myself. My poor colleague was so scared when the driver left because he had no way to contact me or know where I lived. It was embarrassing and awful. That would be so scary.
Right? Oh my God, I'd feel so bad.
Okay.
Are you going to read S?
Yes, I am going to read S. Okay. So this was in the later phase of my drinking when I was trying to find ways to do it outside of my house so my roommates, who I promised I would get sober, wouldn't catch me. One of the ways I did this was Uber into the city and start hitting up random bars and clubs with people I met online who weren't connected to my friends IRL. So after a night of going at it and it was finally 2 a.m., which is when the last bars closed, I was by myself, pissed drunk, so it was time to call an Uber and go home. Of course, One crucial thing neglected to pay attention to was my phone charger throughout the night, and lo and behold, my phone was out of power. And I was in some random part of the city with no clue where the fuck I was. So the first thing I do is walk up to some random strangers who were sitting down on the side of the street and ask them for a charger. And it was only after I had got done asking the question, I noticed that one of them was on top of the other one. It looked like they were going through some kind of sex motion, but with their clothes on it, and it looked like some weird hooker thing. So they were like, hey, leave us alone. And I was like, holy fuck, sorry, and I ran off. Then I went around asking more random strangers for a charger, but everyone gave me funny looks and turned me down despite me being annoyingly pushy about it. I even boldly asked one lady who was throwing up out her front door what drugs she was on, and she looked at me like I was completely nuts and told me to fuck off, basically. Eventually, after walking in a random direction, I came across a YMCA, and it had under this area that it was under construction. So I was like, fuck it, I'm going to go into the construction area and see if I can find a charger. And I walked around this whole thing with no success, and then kicked back the plaster on one of the inner walls, which actually broke the pane of plaster in two.
Oh my God.
Gained me access to the Y where the gym and the pool
pools
was. And I fucked around in there for a while, playing with all the exercise bikes like a maniac.
Oh my God.
For a little while, and left a note on the front desk that said, sorry, I broke the plaster. I'm really drunk and needed a charger. And then I challenged them to a game of tic-tac-toe, LOL.
Oh my gosh.
I also found this art room where they had a bunch of paint and dumped some of it on the floor to spell the word and spelled the words aliens for some reason. I don't know.
What?
Following that, I realized I wasn't going to be finding a charger anywhere. So I went back outside and tried falling asleep in someone's yard. But then it started to rain. So I tried to do the cliche hitchhike thumb motion you see in movies to go to random cars, but it didn't work. So I finally got on a bus that I had no idea where it was going and passed a Royal Farms that was now open since it was like 6 a.m, and got one of the cashiers to charge my phone and called an Uber. But anyways, Jesus Christ, it was mind-boggling that once I sobered up from that, I didn't just quit right then and there, but still took a couple more weeks getting into stupid shit before I called it quits. Thanks for reading. Oh my God.
That's bananas.
I like putting aliens on the floor.
Oh my God. Yeah, but the poor person had to clean up that paint.
I know. All
right. I'm going to read L. On Christmas Eve a few years back, we were always invited to a friend's house for a get-together where everyone always drinks and has a good time. I had a drink, or maybe two, before going, and my husband drove. Once there, I continued my drinking charade. Before we even had dinner, I went outside for some air by myself. Somehow I bent over and smacked my head on the cement drive. Oh my God, so she fell. I stood back up and felt fine, but felt blood running down my nose. No. I wiped it away and realized I had really fucked up my nose and forehead. Instant humiliation there because there was about 20 or so people.
So she had a drink or maybe two and then smashed her head on the cement and broke her nose?
No, that was before she went to that party, and then she continued to drink. So she was wasted. Yeah. There were like 20 or so people at the party, and she snuck back into the house and saw the hostess of the party and summoned her for help. We went upstairs and drunkenly tried to hide it all with makeup. I looked pathetic. We went back downstairs and no one said anything but my husband. I struggled through dinner and we left right after. Turns out it caused me double vision for 3 months and a bad cut on the bridge of my nose and over my right eye, not to mention the humiliation I caused for my husband, who had no idea how much I drank. He just thought I had an unfortunate accident. I also had to work like this and made up stories about what had happened. This didn't stop me from drinking. It just made me start thinking I needed to be more careful. That's the short version of the true story. Unfortunately, I have more. Please don't give my name or location. I have lots of friends and some of my family who may hear this podcast. Let's just say my name is Marie from Connecticut. Thank you, Marie from Connecticut. Damn. All right.
I'm going to read the next one, Jay.
Okay.
Jess and Kate. Okay, I'm 9 months sober and I'm grateful I no longer do embarrassing shit like this. When I lived I'm just going to say there was, or in Anchorage, there was a famous dive bar which had multiple huge rooms with different activities. We had to go through a metal detector to get inside and the floors were all covered in hay. One room had karaoke, another had techno, another had snacks, another had bras hanging from the ceiling. My friend and I drank many house vodkas with cran, and I decided it was my time to shine. I sang Rebel Yell in the karaoke room to about a dozen drunk frat boys. I remember doing a fantastic job, and the drunk boys seemed to appreciate my singing skills. Of course, I probably made an ass out of myself. When the bar closed, my friend and I ended up standing outside talking to some random dudes. They offered to take us to Waffle House and then give us a ride home. When we got to Waffle House, I excitedly ordered waffles. I remember chanting, "Waffles, waffles." And then things began to get fuzzy. I inhaled my waffles and immediately felt something was wrong. I looked at my friend in a panic and proceeded to barf waffles and vodka cran all over the table. The pink barf covered the table and splashed onto unsuspecting bros. I vividly remember an elderly couple staring at me in horror as they exited the restaurant. My friend threw 60 on the table, and we ran. I continued to drink for another 10 years. Thanks for helping me find humor in my tragic drinking problem.
Oh my gosh. All right. I'm reading Jay. A different one. My story is just one of many that are truly horrifying. Let me set the scene. A couple years ago, I was in a toxic relationship where we drank, worked, and repeat. Oftentimes on the weekend, we would drink heavily with my ex's friends who were all functioning alcoholics. My ex's friends owned a successful winery, so there was never a shortage of high quality wine to abuse. One night, we were at one of his friends' house for a Halloween party. I was, of course, dressed as an adorable kitty, and we kicked the night off with lots and lots of wine. I quickly browned out and have vague memories of arguing with his friends about veganism, politics, and family problems. Um, After drinking probably a bottle of wine to myself, I'm 5'5", 120, I blacked the fuck out. The last things I remember were getting into a screaming match with my ex outside, and then boom, I wake up on the couch in the middle of the night, surrounding by all these passed out friends. My pants and underwear were off, laying neatly next to me, soaking wet. I immediately was like, okay, bitch, did you piss your pants? But no, I grabbed them and then smelled them, and it was much more of a wet grass type smell. They were soaked. So I definitely could not have generated enough pee to get them that wet. I was so fucking confused and dizzy, so I found a blanket and went back to bed. In the morning, I asked my ex what the fuck happened, and I was half naked in the middle of the living room and why my pants were so wet. And he told me we had gotten into a fight about some bullshit, and I refused to come back inside, saying I would rather sleep in the grass than be near him. I guess the sprinklers had come on and my drunk ass had enough and gone inside to pass out on the couch. I remember being so embarrassed and ashamed the next day and having the anxiety for weeks afterwards. I have had so many awful drunken moments, peeing in the most inappropriate places, cussing people out, thinking that I was in the Matrix, cheating, and much more. Unfortunately, it took a much more earth-shattering mistake for me to make an actual change and become sober. And now I get to wake up every day without having to ask my partner or friends what kind of bullshit I got myself into the night before.
I also one time thought I was in an episode of Homeland when I was in Atlantic City. I was hammered.
You always tell me that story.
That's what it makes me think of, the Matrix one.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
So terrifying. Good. That was terrifying. Okay.
Yep.
I'm going to read C.
Okay.
Oh, okay. On this particular evening, I was partying on a Thursday night in my college town of Santa Rosa, California, with a friend of mine who always liked to go balls to the wall when it came to drinking. I think our entire friendship was based on the fact that we liked to drink a lot together. Her and I were at the tequila bar on Main Street that always had the best music, DJs, and overall party vibe. There were frequent fights outside and people overdoing it there. Overpouring, maybe? While I understood it's my responsibility to control myself, I'm not exactly known to have any self-control with anything, really. Sweets, alcohol, substances. Anyways, I remember thinking the bartender that night was super sexy, or maybe I was on a mission to get free drinks, but I was being very flirtatious with the bartender, and he was with me. He asked what I wanted to drink that night, and I had been on a Fireball whiskey kick lately, vomit. So that's what he poured for me all night long without ever charging me anything. Mission accomplished, right? I am a blackout drunk, and tonight was no exception. I must have taken at least 20 shots. I black out and we leave the bar at some point. I don't remember leaving, but we get back to my friend's apartment and she somehow convinces my drunk ass to go to sleep on the air mattress in the living room. I'm known to be an unruly, argumentative, angry, even violent drunk, and I usually wanted to drive myself home to sleep in my own bed no matter how many drinks I'd thrown back. And telling me I was too drunk to drive always started an argument. At some point after she went to bed, at what I later learned was around 2 a.m., I decided to leave her apartment and drive home. I live about an hour and a half away and am still blacked out when I get behind the wheel. I came to with my car spinning out of control in a ditch on the side of the freeway. I slam on my brakes and somehow my car didn't flip over in this steep ditch. When I finally stopped spinning in the grass on the side of the highway, my car wouldn't start. I tried and tried, but the engine wouldn't turn, so I decided to ditch my car and climb up the hill and hide in the bushes like some kind of bandit.
Oh my god.
Listening for sirens and waiting for the cops to arrive and arrest me. I'd already gotten 2 DUIs at this point in my drinking career. One of which I managed to dodge and was never charged with. So I was absolutely terrified at the thought of getting charged with a third DUI. Why does this person have a license? If the cops were coming, I was hiding and had no plans for the county jail that evening. I waited, but they never came. Nobody saw the accident and nobody came to help. I was afraid and all along hiding on the side of the highway looking down at my car. Did I mention at this point I realized my phone is dead? So I start walking. No. And after a couple of hours, what felt like an eternity, I miraculously make it to a convenience store that is open and the man lets me inside. Under the fluorescent lighting, I now realize I'm covered in filth and must have looked like an absolute crazy person. Banging on the glass, begging to use a phone. Thankfully, I remember my dad's phone number in my drunken state, and he actually picks up at 4 a.m. He came, and we looked for my car, but couldn't find it. I had assumed I'd misjudged where I walked from, but the next day we went back, driving up and down the highway, and my car was gone. Talk about a real-life, dude, what's my car situation, except for way more scary and less fun. After calling a few tow yards, my car was found. My dad drove me right down, and that's when I saw my car in the tow yard. I noticed there was an entire 6-pack on the floor of the passenger side, a couple of which had been drank. I must have stopped on my way home and gotten a 6-pack. Again, I'm shocked looking back that the store clerk would sell a drunken, blacked out person a 6-pack and watch her get in the car and drive away. But I digress. Oh my God. My car was filthy and had all of this long, dried grass in the undercarriage, but shockingly had 0 damage, not even a scratch. I prayed to my guardian angels that were watching over me that night and to thank them for protecting me. I could have been killed or worse, hurt an innocent person or family, and it kills me to look back at my recklessness. Thankfully, I've stopped drinking and driving, but have been struggling to get and stay sober in the years since. This is a painful, all-consuming disease, and I cannot wait for it to be over when I am finally able to achieve sobriety. Currently doing a 30-day challenge after reading Annie Grace's book. That one's like not so hot mess.
I really hope she stays sober or gets sober because that's
me too. And I hope
dangerous.
She doesn't drink and drive anymore.
Yeah, that's hard not to. Like if you're in that state of mind, you know.
Also, it's like you're taking an Uber an hour and a half. I don't know, you know. I mean, we have like a different situation because we live close enough, but
oof, that's rough.
That is rough.
But I mean, like very relatable. Just
very relatable.
Scary.
Reminds me of that one that you had where you were driving. Remember?
Yes. Oh well, yeah. That's why I said relatable. 100%. Yeah, and then I peed in front of the cop. Yeah, but they didn't see me.
That's right.
All right, I'm reading A. This is Halloween circa 2011 when I was living in Philly and my friend had come to visit me for the weekend. We got our costumes all ready. A lot of Halloween stories tonight, including full face sugar skull makeup. We pre-gamed a little and ended up walking to a friend's house a few blocks away. This is where things really start to turn up. We get in the house and the guys make us what they called green goblins, which was a 40-ounce, partially drunken with a 4 Loko to fill it back up. Oh no.
Wow.
What the fuck, gross? But of course, I fucking said, sign me up and proceeded to get hammered. After a bit of drinking, we were heading to a party, but had started to snow. So we had to drive. Oh no. We put around 8 people in a RAV4 and we were off. Okay, that's too many people. Once we arrived at the party, we realized no one else had dressed up. We went to a legit adult party dressed as Sugar Skulls, Darth Maul, an astronaut, and a fucking horse. There were some other costumes, but I don't remember them. The party wasn't bumping enough for me, so I decided to take their fancy liquor and start making people drinks, shots, etc. I am not a bartender.
Hold on, pause. Can you imagine being at the other party or throwing the other party and then these fucking idiots show up? I'd be so mad. So mad.
Well, it's that party they were supposed to go to.
I guess,
right?
but the party wasn't bumping enough for me. I just, no. Yeah.
But also, like, who has a Halloween party and then doesn't dress up?
That's true. That's very true.
Fucking dumb. But, all right, the party, I am not a bartender. The nights get a little blurry from there, except I have clear visions of me and Darth Maul making out in the bathroom and smearing our face makeup together. Oh, God. When it was time to go, and by that I mean I'm pretty sure they asked us to leave. I was so shit-tanked I had to be carried down the stairs by another drunk person. So he tripped and dropped me. I hit my head on on a metal railing. And to this day, I'm not sure how I didn't go to the hospital. The rest of the night is a complete blur. Probably because I hit my head on the railing, but we woke up the next day with our Halloween makeup smeared all over our faces and pillows without my friend. I had told her she couldn't stay at my house. Remember, she wasn't from there. And then we had to find her. Luckily, we did, but goddamn, I am so glad I got to enjoy my Halloween sober now. I am much better friend and party guest. Oh my gosh.
I hate the fucking Halloween makeup because exactly that happens.
Yeah. Oh, it gets all over everything. Or like even like the blood and then dries and cracks and is itchy.
Okay.
Oh, wait. There's one that says drunk night gone viral. I feel like that one kind of needs to be read.
You want me to read that one? Okay. H writes, okay. It all started on a summer night about 3 years ago. Me and my friends were underage, so we would all use our fake IDs to get into the bar. We would always have so much fun. We would line dance, take Jello shots, make out with cute boys, and basically get drunk out of our minds. So drunk, as a matter of fact, a lot of times we would stay the night in the parking lot of the bar.
Oh, God.
Classy, right? But this
better
one
than driving drunk,
I guess. But this, a lot of times we would stay in the parking lot. That's a lot. Okay. But this one particular night, I remember vaguely getting into an argument with another girl in the bar, and I can't in the bar. I can remember bits and pieces of this night, but in all reality, it was a blur. I didn't know what actually happened until the next morning when I woke up in my bed and my whole body was sore. It felt like I got hit by a truck. I opened my phone and went to Instagram and had over 5,000 friend requests. My first thought, oh no. After scrolling for a little while and reading all the crazy comments, I come across a video of me getting into a fist fight with a very heavyset girl. In the video, I look like a complete zombie, and you can 100% tell that I am blacked out. This girl is throwing me on the ground several times. I stand up, and she throws me back down. So basically, I was getting my ass beat. It was so bad that in the video, my friends jumped in to help me, but when they did, all of her friends jumped in too, and it was basically a world star world star fight that went viral. My worst nightmare.
God.
Wait, what's a world star fight?
World Star, it's just like it's like a website or whatever, and they just post people fighting videos.
God.
Like, oh my God, how did these people find her? And like, why is everyone like, I want to be her Instagram friend? You know, like, I mean, whatever.
Totally.
But it's just like so weird. That's pretty good though.
That sounds like some hardcore out and about stories. Like
God.
we go line dancing and sleep in the parking lot and then be in like a fucking fight.
Wait,
be in a fight club.
I know, like we keep saying we're gonna.
Okay.
There's one more I want to read because it says Grandpa Kink and Chlamydia.
Okay.
So like I can't like pass that up. Okay. For the love of God, please keep this anonymous. You can call me Stacy. All right. I moved back home after a summer during college and lived with my aunt and uncle. I just got out of an abusive relationship and thought the best way to get over someone is to get under someone. Oof. So what did I do? Distract myself with partying and hooking up. Halfway through summer, I went in for an annual PAP and found out I had chlamydia. At this point, I had consistently...
And I had chlamydia. Ugh.
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't say the ugh. I just figured that it was implied. Okay. At this point, I had consistently been sleeping with one person and had him and I made a pact to only be friends with benefits. He was super nice about me having the clap. And I contacted every person I had sexual relationship with. And all of them said they came back clean. Haha. Well, someone was lying, but whatever. I did my part by being honest and open. Side note, we need to normalize STDs and STIs to help keep everyone more safe.
True.
This is true, Stacy. This is true. Back to this friends and benefits guy. He caught a bad case of the feels. I couldn't have him catch feelings for me because I was going back to school. But he was fun friend and great in bed. So I kept him around, but I unintentionally led him on because he thought my feelings for him were going to change. They did not. I actually got annoyed of him. Poor guy. One evening he wanted to hang, but I was busy with hanging out with family because my other aunt was in town. I told him he could come on over and play games with us. We ended up hanging out next door at the neighbors. We were drinking, playing Cards Against Humanity, and having the best time. Mind you, I was 18. Oh gosh, she was 18. My aunt and neighbor were in their 50s and both had grandchildren. Cards Against Humanity turned super sexual somehow. Between my aunt and the neighbor. Apparently these two have a history. The night goes on and my aunt and the friend with benefits go home. Since I wasn't ready for the party to end, I stayed. It was just me and grandpa neighbor. Oh no, where is this going?
And does she still have the clap?
I don't know. After a certain point of drinking, I want to do anything I shouldn't do. Hence, hook up with a grandpa who is also hooked up with my aunt right after hanging out with a guy who has feelings for me while being 18 years old and living next door at my aunt and uncle's house. Me and grandpa are in bed, puking emoji, and I tell him I won't have sex because I have chlamydia and the antibiotics I took give me a yeast infection. Double barf emoji. So what did I do? I gave him a BJ. But wait, before this happened, I asked if he would be okay because I knew he had testicular hernia at the moment and I didn't want to hurt him. What the fuck? He was fine, by the way. And after our interaction, I went home by jumping over the fence and sneaking through the doggy door because I didn't want to be caught coming home so late from the neighbor's house. He texted me at 6 a.m. and said, "You left your shoes. They're sitting on the brick wall." The next morning was super awkward, and I know my aunts and uncle know what happened. Fast forward to now. I no longer talk to any of those people anymore. Not because I gave grandpa neighbor a BJ, but because I came out of the closet the following summer and they disowned me and kicked me out. People are weird. My aunt and uncle, who is a cop, by the way, has nothing to do with the story. We're totally okay with me underage. Oh, now I get it. With me underage drinking and fucking everyone on the block. But they weren't okay with me taking summer classes, working full time, not drinking, and loving women. Just a fun list of people alcohol convinced me to hook up with. Mormon girl on my track team, former high school teacher, and his wife at the same time. The track coach of a rival team at my college national track meet in a Walmart parking lot in the team van. My two best friends, guy and girl, at the same time when I was 14 years old. A lifeguard from San Diego who I met on the river and he snuck me into a nightclub at 17 years old. Then I went back to his hotel where we hooked up and then he ditched me and I drove home under the influence. This was actually really sad. I learned a lot of lessons. My boss from a part-time job in college, he ended up farting in my face, by the way. Ha ha ha. And then said, "Sorry, you're just so hot." All in all, I learned so many lessons. It's taken years in therapy to even talk about it. Love you, gal. Sobriety's the tips and you're both amazing. That's, I think, my favorite. That is my favorite hot mess email. And I get a little sneak peek of Stacy because I'm on the Gmail like thing, and her photo is a lovely photo of her hiking. So I hope that she's turned the corner. Oh my god,
that is the best
crazy. That was really good. Oh my god, keep those hot mess stories coming.
It was just me and grandpa neighbor.
I don't even. He had what testicular hernia? Like what? There's so many things. With
I love
story
that there's
that
history with the aunt too. Like
what? Also, she was 18.
know.
This guy was like
Grandpa's a
50 something.
creep.
Like, that is like Dateline.
Oh,
my
God.
God.
I'm keeping
That was
one.
a really good episode.
Mm-hmm.
Those are great. Send in your emails, your hot mess emails to seltzersquadpod@gmail.com for a chance to be humiliated on the internet.
Oh, fuck. That was good. All right. Until we meet again.
Be nice to yourself.
Don't fuck Grandpa.
Hangover
suck.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to this podcast. Every review helps other listeners find us. Music by Dead Go West. Art by Kate Sander. For show notes and resources, check out seltzersquad.com.